These are 6 rising fun Pokemon trends currently happening in the Generation 9 OU metagame that you may or may not know about. Quick shout out to Finchinator for helping me with this video, by the way. Dragapult is a Pokemon in Generation 8 that was primarily known to be an absolute warrior on the offensive side of things. Yet in Generation 9, Dragapult has changed to be more of a classic boots pivot option. This was all because, well, 1, the metagame already had strong dragon types to begin with, so it was kind of unnecessary, but 2, it has great supporting moves to catch other opponents off guard, not to mention as well avoiding incoming hazard damage with the heavy duty boots option, which helped it live longer as a support option role. Of course though, Dragapult still ran occasionally offensive sets regarding usually choice specs because its move pool was better suited for it, largely due to the fact Dragapult has never had a good offensive stab physical ghost type coverage move for it to take advantage of. Thus, it was just better to run choice specs variation including Shadow Ball in order to have some variants of stab coverage. But until recently, Dragapult has picked up yet another strange set, and this is the Choice Band variation, which largely is all thanks to Generation 9's gimmick of terastallization. This allows Dragapult to terastallize and take advantage of Stab Terra Blast Ghost, which allows it to finally have a physical stab coverage move so it's so desperately needed to fully take advantage of its better attacking stat. This does though come with its own drawbacks, and the fact it's no longer using heavy duty boost to avoid taking hazard damage, although I suppose dealing massive amounts of your own damage is not that bad of a trade-off either. Being a physical attacker as well does now put it in the realm of Will-O-Wisp threat option, not to mention Rocky Helm users, etc. So that is a major pain as well. This set only works on a couple of unique teams because of its frailty, as well as its susceptibility to hazards are 2 glaring issues that it does have to overcome. I tried to use this version actually of Dragapult during the infancy of Scarlet and Violet, and hazards were a huge issue I came across, plus the lack of good supporting Pokemon to really make it work compared to now. I mean, it's still not the best now, and there are other better Dragon types to use obviously, but this isn't that bad of an option as long as it has a good supporting caster on it, such as the team you see above right now. It can be difficult to use, but when used correctly, this Pokemon is capable of annihilating teams with its immense amount of damage. Now, while Dragapult might have been more predictable to see, Sticky Barb Clefable isn't something you hear every day. Normally, Sticky Barb is not a competitive item because it damages the holder every turn, like opposite Rocky Helmet. However, Clefable has had a unique ability called Magic Guard. Magic Guard is an ability where the Pokemon is only damaged by damaging moves towards the Pokemon. Status, etc. won't work on it, which means in theory this also applies to Sticky Barb. And actually, Sticky Barb actually has one other funny interaction, and that's the fact if the opponents make contact with this Pokemon, then this item will transfer to the other Pokemon if they're not holding an item. This is where Clefable comes in, as it has a favorable matchup against Booster Energy Roaring Moon. So by letting it get hit by Roaring Moon's attack once its Booster Energy has been used up, it can weaken Roaring Moon every turn by 1/8 HP, because then it will absorb the Sticky Barb item. Honestly, a very clever way of using Clefable, something that was used in previous generations actually, such as in Generation 8 as highlighted in this old 2020 article. This strategy can be used on obviously other similar Pokemon of Roaring Moon's caliber, such as Gliscor, to which after you knock off its Toxic Orb, you can help slowly kill it off from the battlefield. It's such a unique strategy right off to mitigate some of the strong users in the OU tier right now, and makes Clefable have more of a niche than I had previously in the OU tier. Before we continue, many of you guys watching this video are not subscribed, so if you guys enjoyed this video at any point, be sure to subscribe for more competitive Pokemon content just like this. Now, we talked about one Dragon type in Dragapult becoming more versatile and unlocking more of its offensive game, but the same can arguably be said by the Choice Spec spammer in Kyurem. Kyurem Choice Specs is great and all, but loaded dice sets for this Pokemon have become even more on the rise. Loaded dice is an item that helps holders moves that hit 2 to 5 times hit 4 to 5 times, and if you may recall, it was an insane strategy that eventually led to Baxcalibur's undeniable ban in OU back during DLC 1 once he got the move Scale Shot. Kyurem, much like Baxcalibur, is a similar Dragon Ice typing with Scale Shot, Dragon Dance, and Icicle Spear. The only difference is that Kyurem does not have EQ, has a lower attack stat, and does not have the ability Thermal Exchange to avoid those easy Will-O-Wisps. But that's fine for this trending Pokemon, as it can use terastallization to its advantage and be more unpredictable, much like Volcarona, to fit your team's desires. Terra Blast Fighting, Terra Blast Fire, Terra Blast Ground, etc. all help hit those strong steel types that resist its stabs, not to mention it can help complement and fortify your defense even further in the right situations. Now, it is fair to point out that Kyurem and the possibility of this set has been around since its arrival in DLC 2, but if you guys recall, as I alluded before, Kyurem actually preferred to be more on the offensive end of things using his special attacking stat, choice specs, etc. It was much more convenient and the avenue of play that quickly rose to popularity due to the outright damage it did right off the bat in that chaotic metagame. Over time and even now, the avenue of D-dance as well as the evolution of the metagame has been explored, with even more of the rise of dual screens also becoming a real thing that has allowed Kyurem to sit behind those screens and set up more often with that bulk, in addition to becoming pretty elusive with its Terra capabilities it has. You combine all these factors and this results into a more substantial rise of Kyurem in the metagame as a Dragon Dance user compared to the prior months. If you guys recall, a long time ago, Scissor was actually a mainstay in competitive singles OU for a short period of time in Generation 9, but then quickly fell off with little talk about it ever since within that tier. But now it seems to be rising back up more so than ever before, and we can actually thank this recent popularity surge thanks to the ban of Volcarona for opening its gameplay up even further. With Volcarona being banned for a while now for the second straight time within Generation 9, this seemingly left a hole to cover Kyurem's ice coverage, Enamorous, while also not being super weak to earth power. Volcarona was a Terra matchup nightmare. Its typing was really good for the Generation 9 OU metagame, and its coverage was off the charts to make it a seemingly perfect fit for all those categories, and now with it gone, this defensive void can be easily filled up by Scissor, and its bucket steel typing that matches up to all that quite perfectly that I listed above. Now, it's not like Scissor was completely irrelevant prior to Volcarona's ban, but that did recently help boost its stock massively in the metagame, because now it does have a legitimate void for teams to fill more than ever before. Scissor, though, up until that ban and going until now, has been making use of a new tactic of Technician boosted quick attack. Technician is an ability that has moves that are 60 base power or less to have a 1.5 times multiplier attached behind it, which in a more simplified fashion basically states moves like quick attack and bullet punch are actually much stronger than their original base power. That's why you guys over the years have seen the popularity of bullet punch, choice band, Scissor, because the sheer amount of power through those variations of multipliers of Technician and choice band that makes it a lethal combo. The rise of quick attack though can be contributed to many steal resists within the current metagame, so having another boosted Technician move similar to that bullet punch allows Scissor to versatily keep up with any Pokemon on its toes, because it has two really good priority moves combined with its other really good moves as Source Sense to boost its attack and U-turns to switch out if need be. Furthermore, Scissor as well can take advantage of further boosted quick attack through Terra normal capabilities, which actually further allows it to be immune to those ghost type moves in the process as well. Now, you put that development of Scissor in the minigame offensively, combined with what I stated earlier on the defensive end of things where Volcarona was banned and how its typing is more important than ever before, makes it no wonder why Scissor is more popular of a choice right now than it has been for a long time. Another popular Pokemon of choice ever since it got a move of Grassy Glideback has to be Rillaboom, and this Pokemon has been developing recently in a way that we have not seen it at all during its time in that metagame, and I'm talking about Terra Fire Rillaboom. Rillaboom is most commonly, as I said, just to spam choice band Grassy Glide, and even despite the nerf to that move, this combination has been forever lethal. However, as time goes on, it starts to become glaringly obvious it can be walled by checks such as Corviknight, Skarmory, Kyurem, Gholdengo, Scissor, etc. Not much to do when you're easily walled, hence the Terra Fire capabilities start to creep up more than ever to combat this situation against these various popular Pokemon within the Generation 9 OU metagame. Rillaboom becomes essentially a little less one-dimensional with the Grassy Glide spam and actually has a couple ways to pick up easy KOs. You can run this with Choice Band, which is fine, but Muscle Band is also another interesting technique, which is an item that allows you to boost all physical damaging moves by 10%. And since you have another potential coverage move in your back pocket now, you don't have to be solely restricted on just spamming Grassy Glide. Rillaboom in short is just more versatile, and while this doesn't mean it's just an outright clear-cut top of the echelon type of mon, it does mean in the right circumstances though it can get things going. Pairs really well with obviously Hawlucha, and having hazards or chipping your opponents down to the point where Rillaboom can close with Grassy Glide and Flexible Terra if need be to lure out other threats is what makes this Rillaboom scary now than just having to worry about it solely Grassy Glide to cover for it for the most part. It is very high opportunity and can be a little niche, but as I said before, in the right circumstances can be very deadly to face. The last important trend to really talk about is the rise of Meteor Beam Glimmora that has been working extremely well on the offensive end of things. For those of you who know this Pokemon, usually it's known as a very popular lead option to get up some hazards and then compete from your side. This other version of Glimmora, however, seeks to do the opposite for the primary reason to catch your opponents off guard. For example, like Gliscor. Glimmora seeks to do major damage off the rip, and with the Meteor Beam Power Orb, this quickly allows it to boost its offensive stats in a very effective manner. The team you see above on screen is a very popular Sticky Webs team featuring Pokemon such as Ribombee in hopes in avoiding Glimmora's mediocre speed in the metagame and further allowing you to catch your opponents off guard and snowball even more effective offensive damage. The thing is that not many opponents really expected this version of Guranteed because, as I said before, you usually expect some form of stealth rocks with spikes and its focus sash, so when it gets hit, it can drop off toxic spikes in addition, etc, etc, basically lathering the other side of the battlefield with hazards on end. So it's no wonder when Meteor Beam Glimmer started popping up, it was now well known of a strategy, and now it's been seeing a lot of success, largely due to somewhat of a similar team composition as you see on screen with the sticky webs on its side. It's another small little fun trend happening right now with the Pokemon that has been in the metagame since day one, and has also peaked on a ladder a while ago using Meteor Beam Glimmer, so it's something to keep in mind as their team building within Gen 9 OU. Thanks to Finchinator once again, by the way, for helping me out with this video, and hopefully you guys were able to get some insight on some fun, interesting Pokemon trends currently happening. Comment down below any other trends you guys know, join the Chompy Discord, and until next time, thanks for watching as always.